Last week, in episode 1, we walked through the horror inside an Austin Target store, the night when Ethan Blaine Nieneker opened fire, killing Rosa, Adam, and Astrid in a storm of chaos. We followed survivors as they ran for their lives, heard the chilling silence when the gunfire stopped, and felt the weight of a community left shattered. And we ended with one haunting truth: while Austin grieved, Ethan was still out there. Armed. Dangerous. Ready to strike again. Tonight, in episode 2, we pick up exactly where we left off. A city waking in fear. A manhunt that grows larger by the hour. And a killer who seems to vanish into thin air, leaving police, and the entire nation, asking the same question. Where's Ethan Blaine Nieneker? This is the story of the hunt. Morning in Austin, Texas. The city felt like a ghost town. Parking lots sat empty, Target stores closed, parents kept their children home. Every radio station, every news outlet, every social media feed carried the same words. The shooter is still out there. Ethan Blaine Nieneker wasn't just a suspect. He was now a phantom, unseen, unpredictable, and armed. People whispered, was he hiding in plain sight? Watching from the shadows? Planning his next strike? For the people of Austin, the nightmare wasn't over. It was just beginning. Dozens of officers fanned out across the city. Police checkpoints sprouted on highways. Helicopters roared above neighborhoods. The car Ethan had stolen after the shooting was found abandoned, stripped of clues. No fingerprints. No blood. Just an eerie silence, as if he had vanished into thin air. Detectives knew one thing: a man like Ethan wouldn't just stop. He had killed 3 people inside a crowded store. He had stolen a car at gunpoint. He had stared death in the face, and walked away. He was chasing something. But what? Survivors stepped forward with haunting stories. One young woman remembered crouching behind a shelf, hearing Ethan's boots slam against the tile as he stalked the aisles. She swore she heard him laugh as he fired. Another man described looking into Ethan's eyes for a split second. There was nothing there. Just cold. Empty. The public saw these faces on TV, ordinary people who had stared directly at the killer, and realized just how close so many had come to dying that day. As the manhunt stretched into its second day, fear spread outside Austin. Neighboring towns boosted security. Stores across Texas reported panic calls. Shoppers thought they saw Ethan everywhere, in parking lots, in gas stations, even inside Walmarts. Police hotlines rang endlessly with false sightings. But detectives couldn't afford to ignore any of them. Every call might be the one. Every shadow might hide the killer. And while Austin held its breath, Ethan was still out there. Watching. Moving. Waiting. The morning after the Target shooting, Austin police were flooded with calls. I saw him at the gas station. He's at the bus stop. He just walked past my window. Each call felt urgent. Each call could be real. Officers raced from one tip to another, sirens slicing through the city. But when they arrived, Ethan was never there. It was as if he were everywhere and nowhere. Fear was spreading faster than facts. Finally, a breakthrough. Surveillance footage from a rural convenience store caught a tall figure entering just before midnight. The grainy video showed him buying water and an energy drink. His hood was pulled tight, his face partially hidden. But the clerk remembered the eyes. Cold. Watchful. When detectives compared the footage with Ethan's photo, their stomachs dropped. It was him. But by the time police swarmed the area, Ethan was already gone. One step ahead. Again. By now, the story wasn't just Austin's. It was America's. News anchors compared Ethan to infamous fugitives of the past. Talk shows debated whether mental illness or radicalization fueled his rage. Social media lit up with theories, conspiracies, and rumors. Every click, every headline, every hashtag, Ethan became larger than life. A faceless shadow haunting the nation. But detectives worried about something else. Attention might not just fuel fear. It might fuel him. That evening, a state trooper spotted a vehicle swerving on a dark stretch of highway outside Austin. The driver matched Ethan's description. Backup rushed in. Helicopters circled above. For a moment, it seemed the chase was over. But when the car was finally forced to a stop, officers found only a terrified young man, a college student, shaking behind the wheel. A false alarm. Another near miss. Another night where Ethan slipped further into the shadows. And somewhere out there, he was still planning his next move. The chase was turning into something bigger than Austin, bigger than Texas. The manhunt was now a battle of patience, between officers who couldn't rest, and a killer who refused to be caught. And in the days ahead, the world would learn chilling new truths about Ethan's past, secrets that could explain why the Target massacre had only been the beginning. As investigators dug deeper, they turned to Ethan's online presence. His social media accounts had been wiped clean, no posts, no photos, no personal traces. But in the dark corners of the internet, detectives found forums where he had once lurked. Anonymous usernames. Strange late-night rants. Obsessions with violence, with rejection, with a world he claimed had turned its back on him. One chilling message, posted weeks before the shooting, read, "The world won't notice me until I make them. One day, they'll all remember my name." The words sent shivers through even the most seasoned investigators. Reporters swarmed Ethan's hometown. They wanted answers. Neighbors described a quiet boy, the kind who barely spoke, the kind who drifted through school unnoticed. But family members told a darker story. Ethan's childhood was marked by isolation. He rarely smiled. He often lashed out. And as he grew older, his anger deepened into obsession. One relative admitted, with a trembling voice, "We were afraid of him. We knew he was troubled. But no one thought it would come to this." Then came the discovery that changed everything. During a search of Ethan's abandoned car, officers found a flash drive wedged between the seat and the console. Inside, a manifesto. Dozens of pages. Disjointed, rambling, yet terrifyingly clear. He wrote of his hatred for society. His fantasies of revenge. His belief that death was the only language the world would understand. But what chilled detectives most wasn't just what he wrote, it was what he promised. Target was not the end. It was only the beginning. With those words, the city's fear turned to panic. If Ethan was still out there, and if Target was only the beginning, then anyone, anywhere, could be next. Police doubled their patrols. Schools fortified their security. People locked their doors, jumped at shadows, and whispered about the killer who seemed always one step ahead. And as night fell over Austin once more, the question hung heavy in the air. Where would Ethan strike next? The Target massacre was no longer just a tragedy. It was a warning. And as investigators braced for the next move, one chilling fact remained: Ethan wasn't done. Stay tuned for episode 3, where the manhunt takes a shocking turn, and Ethan's twisted game with the police finally erupts into a deadly showdown.